Sarsoa's Calamity, an AWRPT written audio short story. A toast for Brant! He has helped me greatly to care for my horses! The horse farmer cheered as the Sarsoans lifted high a pint and took a drink. A full house in the Wheaton Ale Inn as those on stage played the lute and viola. Every round table made of tree stumps on the main floor are occupied. Cloths of many colors and silks over them as a coin purse or headwear, overflown with copper piece donations, rest on them. Younger couples strolled up the stairs and rented a room for two, leaving a chair to be napped. From one end of the bar to the other are tankards for people to snatch and fill from 3 small barrels of ale and beer, or a larger one with snake tongue brew. A toast was made each time a tankard is paid for. A roast-based hog skewered over a plate of sliced pork for the juices to spill over. Warm baked bread placed around dipping bowls of melted cheese, rich oils, the country's wine, and sugar water. Vegetables and fruit of various sizes, ripeness and blanch to everyone's liking. The village came together to celebrate the life of Brant, even if his soul supposedly did not leave for Shen. The night continued as the inn was emptier. Volley, Shaleth, Bulgo, and Elizabeth sat at the table to share drinks. Other guests have either passed out, talked amongst themselves, danced on stage with the lute player, or prepared to leave. Everyone else left earlier than usual. Each time someone left, Bulgo would make another toast for Brant along with a far-fetched story to keep his customers. Of course, each time a toast was made, those inside would follow suit. A toast for Brant for carving these lovely tables that have these lovely coin purses! Bulgo shouted out as those at the table would groan and drink once more. A few more began to walk out. Oh, a toast for getting rid of those dire rats! Hey, why are you leaving? We haven't even toasted on his valiant effort of... Shaleth placed her hand over Bulgo's tankard and pushed it back down to the table. Bulgo, stop, instructed Shaleth. No more toast. I will not be cleaning puke all night. But my darling, complained Bulgo, we got to keep the coin coming. Shaleth raised her finger toward Bulgo without eye contact. First off, don't call me darling. Second, look around. Shaleth waved her hand around the inn. Barely anyone is here. Think of something else to talk about, please? After a nod of agreement from Elizabeth, the table became silent. Had Volley not been present, they would have discussed the ceremony today. Bulgo snapped his fingers. So Volley, cried Bulgo as he leaned on his elbow towards him. Care to share the stories of them scars on your arm? Ugh, Bulgo, really? Elizabeth argued at the new subject at hand. Shaleth kicked Bulgo's chair and glared at him. Volley chuckled. After all these times I've lived here, do you still ask that? Volley raised his tankard to his mouth and sighed. I told you, I was in the border extraction years ago. Ah, but what else? As Bulgo placed a silver piece in front of Shaleth to bet he drank enough to tell the stories. Volley showed no signs of impairment nor intoxication. Nothing else, replied Volley. Damn it! Bulgo shouted as he banged his hand on the table. Shaleth smiled as she picked up the silver piece and placed it in her shirt pocket over her right breast. Look, I'll tell you tomorrow night. Volley chugged the remainder of his ale and stood. But I need to finish the pie and pack my things. You're leaving? Questioned Elizabeth. That explains them bloody bags at your door, mumbled the agitated Bulgo. My bags are inside my hut. How do you know? Asked Volley. Well, Shaleth interrupted as she smacked Bulgo indirectly in the face with the back of her hand. She hid the action by lifting her arm up to stretch. It's really late. Bulgo drank too much. Bulgo must go to bed. Move along, little goblin. Shaleth rocked Bulgo's chair until he jumped off it. The two bickered back and forth as Shaleth shoved Bulgo up the stairs to his room. Shaleth waved to Volley and Elizabeth and announced the inn was closed. So, where will you go? Elizabeth inquired to Volley as he escorted her back home. I do not know. Had the ceremony been different, I would have left in the morning. Ah, from this afternoon, Elizabeth commented as she looked towards the ground. She began to think of her failure to save Brant, his death, and when he came back for mere moments. His spirit is sure to haunt her. So why worry of the rot of a life essence? Asked Volley, but Elizabeth seemed unaware of what he meant. Spirits. You fear of spirits haunting you. The two arrived outside her home. Wouldn't you if you wronged someone of life? And did father talk to you? Volley began to frown as he brushed his hand over his scars on his left arm. I have wronged many of life, Elizabeth. Each scar has that story to tell. But we in Voltgard believe differently of death. Elizabeth squinted and looked up to Volley for an explanation. Volley pointed at the tree that overhang the gravesite. In Voltgard, we believe the life essence comes from the tree of life. Each essence holds honor, duty, valor, and the warrior spirit. Everyone in Voltgard are born with it. But over time, the essence builds rot from things like anger, grief, or whatever else that is negative to the soul. When we die, our essence returns to the tree of life as a new branch. Any rot falls off like an apple. The rot will never return, and the life essence exists only to protect it. Volley placed his hand on Elizabeth's shoulder. You hold a good life essence, Elizabeth. Even if you don't believe in my culture's ways, I just hope this comforts you. If it were possible for the rot to haunt anyone, Brant would never do that to you. I swear on my honor. Remember, you were the first to welcome him when we arrived. I could tell he built a connection to you over time as he spoke of you at the table. The last thing he mentioned before he collapsed was helping you find your plots. Volley patted his hand on Elizabeth's shoulder and then walked away. So, a guardian spirit? Elizabeth spoke in a joyous tone. That makes him my guardian spirit, right? Volley stopped and looked behind him. If that's what they call it here, then yes, a guardian spirit. Elizabeth's eyes widened. She cheered with relief and lunged at Volley with a hug. Elizabeth paused for a moment to realize what she did and stepped back while her cheeks turned red. Sorry, I didn't think that through. She placed her hands behind her back. Thank you, Sir Volley. I hope to see you tomorrow. Inside Elizabeth's home, given to each elder, had a single room with a window next to the door. A table and 3 chairs sat in the middle as a green tablecloth draped over it. The hearth on the other side had a fire burning under a pot. Inside was soup that Harold prepped for the morning before going to bed. To the right was a staircase that led to the bedrooms. A wooden closet was to the left of the door. Inside were clothing, ink feathers, and parchment. And there's that chest wrapped in a tunic. Harold's memorabilia locked inside. Items before he became the village elder. Before Elizabeth was born. Being 24, Elizabeth wasn't curious of it anymore. She didn't ask if she was old enough to see. Harold promised he would show when she was older. She outgrew the surprise of it. Now it's the closet stool where her own herbalist chest sat over it. She recalled of Brant's assistance to locate the herbs Elizabeth would need. When she first met Brant, his face was as cold as his father's, but his heart was warm and full of care. She remembered how he could see when she was overthinking. Where Shaleth would tell stories to make her laugh, Brant would ask if she was okay, while he held the plant she required in his hand from his trip from the woods. Again, her heart could feel. She closed the dresser and turned to go to bed. Elizabeth stopped with her mouth wide open. Her hands trembled as a chill went up her body, her breaths quick and uneasy. A cold sweat was down her left side. The man was tan, well-built, and near Elizabeth's age. His hair was brown, and his face was clean-shaved. It couldn't possibly be him. He couldn't be here to haunt her. She couldn't speak a word. She heard the same tone of voice before he passed away. Her arm hair stood up. He spoke as if being told what to say. From where I stand, a chill be felt. Take this way to see a new day. Elizabeth blinked once. He was gone. She bolted to her room and hid under her blanket. Awake for a few more hours, she pondered on why he would haunt her. No, he isn't, whispered Elizabeth, as she repeated Volley's words moment ago. He's my guardian spirit. She relaxed, but wondered what he was guarding her from. She fell asleep with the words etched in her mind.